Welcome back to Cheddar's Opening Bell, everyone. In last night's town hall, the president fielded questions from voters addressing the coronavirus, white supremacy, and election integrity. But with just 18 days to go, was it enough to sway voters? Joining me now is Rick Gates, President Trump's deputy campaign chair in 2016, and author of the new book, Wicked Game, an insider's story on how Trump won, Mueller failed, and America lost. Rick, I want to dive right in here. Did the president do enough last night to sway voters?
Look, I think the president did what he did best last night. He answered the questions directly. He answered all of them. They're obviously looking at the town hall. It was a little different from the town hall over on ABC. And, look, debates rarely have a significant impact on elections. And we've got, as you said, 18 days to go. A lot can happen in those 18 days, as we learned, information coming out, from the Biden camp on some of his son's business affairs. So the polling is wrong. We've still got 18 days. There's plenty of left to do. I think he did what he needed to do last night, and he did it in a very strong and resilient way. And I think it's going to help.
Rick, yep. But if the debates don't move voters' opinions much, was this an effective use of the president's time as he is still trying to recover from the coronavirus?
Yeah, absolutely, because it enables him to do what he likes to do, and that's connect directly with the people. I thought, Savannah Guthrie did a disservice by not asking substantive questions to get to policy ideas, because I think that's what the American people want to know.
I would disagree, Rick. I think she did a wonderful job. She really pressed him. And one of the interesting things that we heard on record from the president for the first time is that he is going to accept the election results, even if they're not in his favor, as long as it is a fair election. Were you surprised by that?
No, not at all. I mean, look, his instincts are very good, and he is absolutely right to address the idea that there is potential, ballot fraud out there. We've seen instances. Now, people say it's insignificant. But that kind of counters the idea that everybody's vote counts and matters. So she did raise some good questions. I agree with you, but a lot of her initial questions, they didn't really get to the heart of a lot of the issues that the American people want to know about.
Well, I do think that there are several factors that the American people want to know about, but we've already seen, Rick, 17 million Americans take to the polls. And so what is the message if President Trump is going to be effective and come out and defy what the polls currently say by 10 percentage points that Biden is ahead? What needs to happen between now and Election Day?
Absolutely. First and foremost, he needs to keep doing the rallies. It is his way of connecting directly with the people. And people always asked us, why does he do the rallies? He already has those voters. You create the intensity among these voters. And that is very important going into Election Day, because you can do all the polls in the world, but if those people don't actually go out and vote, then it doesn't count. And the second thing he needs to do is focus on the economy. That's his single greatest achievement in his almost 4 years. And if he goes out there and delivers on the message on the economy, Americans are going to gravitate toward that, and I think that's going to pull him over the finish line.
How does he convince voters, though? I mean, the problem, Rick, is not with the Democrats. It's with members of his own party, fiscal conservatives, Republican senators, right, that are not giving him the approval to push through $1 trillion plus stimulus package. How does he convince voters that he's actually good for Main Street and good for Wall Street?
Well, he did it in 2016. He did it throughout his administration so far. And I think those senators are going to have to get on board. Look, you're in the midst of a pandemic. And I understand that they want to be fiscally conservative, but there are times when we have to step back and look, are we trying to help the American people or not? I think it'd be a shame if a stimulus bill did not get through to help the American people across all political parties, not just one. So they need to get that done. But I do think the president's economic message, and look, have some pretty good Q3 numbers for GDP. The unemployment numbers are down. So all those factors are going to help him going into the home stretch.
Well, we've seen unemployment actually point to a slowdown in this recovery, Rick. We've seen it in several different facets, from consumer spending to the jobless claims to job openings to the monthly jobs report. All of it is indicating a slowdown, which is why we need a $1 trillion plus stimulus package to actually pass for Main Street. But I do wonder, it's kind of a tough sell to the American people that the president is effective on the economy when he's $400 million in debt, which we've learned over the course of the past several weeks through the New York Times investigation, and of course was addressed last night. How does he pitch himself to the American public as strong on the economy when he himself is $400 million in debt?
Well, look, I think from his real estate empire, that's a completely separate matter. And I think if you go to any real estate investment fund or real estate company, debt is loans, it's mortgages, and that the average American has a mortgage. I'm in debt. You're in debt probably if you have a house. So I don't think that really relates to what he's doing for the American economy itself. And I'm talking about driving manufacturing, looking at creating more jobs and putting money back into the economy through whether it's stimulus, small business. Look, I think he reacted very quickly to the pandemic in terms of small businesses. And Democrats had said that he jumped on it. It was a lot different than 2008. And I think those types of actions, his experience as a CEO, all helps to get this economy going back again. Look at the markets. The markets are doing pretty good considering everything.
The markets are doing good, Rick, but we know that that's because there's trillions of dollars on the sidelines with nowhere else to put it. If you have any money in savings, you're probably not keeping it in a savings account or want to put it somewhere else because you're getting zero yield on that and you want to make money. So obviously we know the stock market is very different than Main Street. 22 million jobs lost in March and April. Only half of those have been clawed back. Is it effective that if the president pushes through further tax cuts and deregulation, assuming that he can, that actually is going to bring back all of the jobs, the remaining 11 million jobs that have still not been restored in this economy?
Look, it's going to help tremendously. If anything, history has shown us, again, regardless of political party, what it does when you offer tax cuts, you offer stimulus, you put money back into the economy. Look at the economy when he first took office. I mean, it jumped tremendously. And so I think you're going to have these facets that come about, which is why I agree with you. It's absolutely critical that Congress gets something done so that we can help the American people, because I think that is going to have an impact on the overall result of the election.
Are you concerned at all about the president's health? I mean, he's busy every single day leading into the election to get out the vote, to try to get out the vote for himself. Are you worried about his health?
Not at all. There's one thing I could say based on my experience traveling with him. We had a very young staff, and that's because, a lot of us had trouble keeping up with him. He is as healthy as I've seen him. He's energetic. You can see he draws the energy from these rallies specifically, which is why I think it's good that he's out there doing them. The health concerns are absolutely non-existent from my standpoint.
Interesting. All right, Rick Gates, Trump's deputy campaign chair in 2016 and author of the new book, Wicked Game, an insider story on how Trump won, Mueller failed, and America lost. Rick Gates, thank you.